Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Ayush Tyagi, and in this video, we will learn the basics of Python programming. So, to understand the basics, let's understand what is programming. So, in programming, we create a program that takes an input and implements some logic and then generates an output that we require, right? So, as you can see that to store input, to implement some logic, what all we are doing is we are using data. We are operating on data, we are storing data. So first of all, what you need to learn is how to store data in Python efficiently, right? So different type of data is stored differently in Python. For example, if you want to store a single value, then it is stored in a variable. For example, a single name or age of a person, right? If you want to store multiple values, then it will be stored in a list or an array. For example, I want to store 10 names, so I can create a list of names, or I can create an array name names and then have 10 names in it. If you want to store multiple types of values, for example, I want to store a name that is of string type and an age that is of an integer type together, then I can store them in dictionary, right? For example, if I want to store multiple types of values in multiple times, for example, I want to store the name and age of like 20%, right? And I want it to be relatable and for long term use, so I can create a class person, give it its variables like a name of type string and age of type integer, and then each time I want a new person to be created, I'll just use the constructor and create. For example, I created two person p1 p2. The name of first person is Ayush, the name of second person is Akshat. Now let's come to the input and output in Python, how to take input and output in the above types. For example, for variables, we can use a predefined function that is called input and can take types of input. For example, I want to take an integer type, so I'll take an input which by default takes string type of input, convert it into an integer and then store it in x, for example 10, right? If I want a string type of input, then it is very simple because by default input takes an string type of value, so it will take directly a string into the variable name, for example Ayush, right? Let's come to the output. In case of output, we simply use the print function. You can use a print and the name of the variable, it will print the value. For example, you want to print the value with some text, then you can write the text in inverted commas, then add in concatenation sign, the plus sign, and then convert the value of that variable into a string and attach it to the previous thing that you typed. So let's code it out now. For that, I'll use the Visual Studio Code. You guys can use any editor that you have. In this, let's create a new file and come here, and down there in the right side you can select the type of file it is. It is a Python file, so I'll use Python. Now what we want to do is we want to store different types of inputs in variables. So first we'll do is we'll store a number, so x equal to input enter a number. Now we want this number to be of an integer type, so we will use the change parser to convert that string input into an integer, so we'll use int input. After that, we'll take an input of a type string. For that, we can directly use the input function and type enter your name, and it will take an input and store it into name. Now we want to print both of them, so I'll just use the print function and just print x directly, and the second thing that we'll do is print name, sorry, it will be in inverted commas name, and then we'll attach the real name to it, that is name, and do give some space so you can like identifier, right? Then we'll go to save and save it in a folder. So I'm saving it in this PCD drive and in a folder named learning. So I'll save it as basic1.py. After it is saved, I'll just go to the run section and I'll like run without debugging. As you can see, it is automatically executed. It will ask for a number, entered 10. It's also like, so it's asked for a number, I enter 10. Ask for a name, I'll enter Ayush, and here you can see it is printing 10 and name Ayush. So guys, again, thank you very much, and in the next video we'll cover how to take inputs in list and other types. Take care.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this video and do subscribe to my channel for more upcoming content on Python.